Recently I made a video featuring a red coin challenge level that requires the player to defeat all enemies in order to advance. In this video, I'm going to explain how to make this type of level. The game mechanic that makes this type of level possible is the entity limit. Mario Maker has an entity limit of 100, and if that limit is exceeded, all item spawners will cease to function. Item spawners include pipes, launchers, lakitis, and blocks with entities inside. All enemies and most interactive items count as entities. Lifts, doors, POWs, springs, and P-switches are all entities. Power-ups, coins, blocks, and icicles are not entities. Non-entity items become entities if placed on a track. Among entities, there are two subtypes, local and universal. Local entities spawn when they are within 3 tiles of the current screen horizontally and within 2 tiles of the current screen vertically. Universal items spawn as soon as the level loads and continuously count towards the entity limit from anywhere. Almost all entities are local. Universal entities include fire bars, skewers, and one-ways. Among those, the only item that is not an enemy is the one-way. This is significant because not only is there an entity limit, but there is also a part limit that prevents placing more than 100 enemies or other parts, regardless of their location. This makes the one-way the most convenient tool for managing entity count. In order to create a spawner that activates when enemies are defeated, you simply need the entity count to drop from 100 to 99 when the last enemy is killed. For example, if you are in a room with 1 Goomba and 1 launcher, placing 98 one-ways anywhere in the level will cause the launcher to be non-functional until the Goomba is gone. To complete the setup, the launcher needs to dispense an item that unlocks a previously inaccessible path. There are many different ways to accomplish this. A spike ball or bomb can be used to either unlock an exit or break through a wall. The launcher can also be used to activate a switch to open a path. POWs, springs, shellmets, and dry bones shells can also provide ways to advance. Fireballs can even be used to melt ice coin blocks. Setting up one room is easy enough, but things get more complicated with multiple rooms. For example, if I add a second challenge room that works the same way as the first but includes a claw, the launcher won't fire. This is because the claw is a local entity that doesn't die. If a one-way is removed to counteract the claw, then the launcher in the first room will fire before the Goomba is killed because there is one less universal entity. This problem can be solved by using less universal entities and storing some persistent local entities just off-screen and adjusting the local entity count as needed. For example, if you use 91 ways, your rooms can have up to 9 persistent local entities, which is usually more than enough. Going back to our sample level, we can make both of our rooms work by reducing the number of one-ways to 90 and adding some side springs just above the rooms. The first room needs to have one more side spring than the second room because the second room already has one persistent local entity, the claw. Other than things that cannot be killed, it makes no difference how many enemies are in each room. All that matters is what's left over once everything has died. As long as that number is the same, all of your rooms can work properly. Now that you know how to set up rooms, you can insert whatever boss fights that you like. There are however some common mistakes that you'll want to avoid. The most common mistake that can break the level is placing rooms too close together. Remember, any entity within 3 tiles horizontally and 2 tiles vertically will count towards the entity limit, so there needs to be spacing between rooms to prevent overlap. In order to more easily avoid overlap issues, it helps to use rooms that don't scroll in any direction once loaded. The more the screen can move, the more space that is needed around the room to prevent overlap. Horizontal scroll stops can be created by placing a line of ground and or hard blocks vertically across the entire level. Likewise, vertical scroll stops can be created by placing a line of ground and or hard blocks horizontally across the entire level. There is also an automatic vertical scroll stop when nothing is placed on any tiles in the upper half of a horizontal level. In this case, a horizontal scroll stop can be achieved by placing a vertical wall across just below a screen. Remember, only ground or hard blocks can be used to create a scroll stop. Even square slope blocks, which look exactly like ground blocks, will not stop scroll. Another easy mistake to make is miscounting entities. For example, a cannon counts as one entity, but it also fires cannonballs that count as entities. Clouds and clown cars occupied by an enemy count as two entities, whereas a shoe counts as only one entity, even when occupied. Chain chomp stumps don't count as an entity, even when detached. Falling icicles also do not count as entities, despite the fact that they move and are interactive. Also, as mentioned before, fire bars and skewers are universal entities. For each of these added to a room, a one-way will need to be removed. Now let's take a closer look at the level that I recently uploaded to see some real examples of how all of this can be applied. This is a red coin level with 7 boss rooms divided between the main world and a sub-world. Since there are so many rooms, I made the fights pretty quick and provided checkpoints after each fight. There are 2 hub screens where the player chooses a room. If they defeat the room, they obtain a red coin and are sent to the other hub. Alternating between 2 hubs makes it so that the player only has to go through 1 checkpoint per fight and minimizes screen transitions. In each room, there are blocks under the entry door that explode after a few seconds. This way, the player has a chance to exit if they accidentally enter a room that they've already defeated. The blocks contain vines so that they will always respawn with the room. Also, the red coins are placed inside of the room so that the player can more easily determine whether or not they've already been there. Each room is scroll locked on all sides and spaced far enough from other rooms to prevent overlapping entities. The method for advancing when a room is defeated is a fireball that comes out of the pipe in the upper right of the screen. The fireball melts an ice block that allows the player through, and an off-screen claw catches the fireball to prevent other fireballs from spawning and killing the player as they exit the room. Once all the rooms are defeated and all the red coins obtained, the player receives the key to the shiny room and completes the level. There are countless other setups that can be used to create this type of level, and you can use this as a guide to create your own variations. Feel free to leave any questions that you have in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks, and have a super-duper day.